Sage Northcutt, Super Sage. It's actually your name on Zoom too, Sage. It's Super Sage with like a lightning bolt emoji. I mean, that's just perfect. I mean, you can it's
Really?
that is you. That is so you.
I didn't even know that. That's funny.
Who did it for you then? Who set up your Zoom?
I guess maybe I did it a long time ago. I'm not sure, but yeah, that's funny.
It's perfect. Anyway, Sage, you're just a few weeks here, January 28th, you're fighting Shinya Aoki. Really huge fight, 165. It's going to be a worldwide pay-per-view. And this is a fight that you were set up for quite a while back, and it didn't come to fruition then. I think it was like over 2 years ago, right? You were supposed to fight Aoki. What
Right.
excites you about this fight, and what is the significance of this fight for you? Obviously, he's a legend.
Yeah, exactly. He's a legend in the sport. He's had almost 60 pro fights. And I think the thing that excites me a lot and the most is that he was a champion for one championship and one of the longest champs for the league. So he's a top ranked opponent. So getting to fight him is huge. And it's a big opportunity for me.
You returned a few months ago in 2023, and we talked before that fight. You were out a long time, and you made a pretty big statement with a submission win, and that is not always your base, right? You are a striker, and you have been. You're a knockout artist, and you beat this opponent with heel hook submission. Was that a statement that you were trying to make? Was that something that was by design?
No, not at all, actually. I mean, every fight I go out there, I'm looking for a finish. So definitely looking to win, definitely looking to finish my opponent. But it just kind of opened up itself during the fight, and I took the opportunity for it. So I wasn't looking to make a statement through that specific submission, but definitely through a finish.
Are you going to be as confident on the ground with someone like Shinya Aoki as you were against Mushtaba in your last fight?
I really believe in my grappling. My coaches do too, and I've been training and improving on the grappling so hard over the last bunch of years. So obviously, looking at Shinya Aoki, everyone knows he's a legend in the sport. He's known for his grappling. So the thing is, though, it's not just a grappling match out there. It's mixed martial arts. So you do have ground and pound. You also start off the match standing up. So got to take all that into account. But definitely feeling confident going in the fight.
You mentioned, he is a former one champion, of course, and he's been around the game for a very long time. How much did you watch of him even before one? Because he fought in a lot of the Japanese MMA promotions, even does a little bit of professional wrestling too in Japan, by the way. But how much have you watched the
Right.
Aoki?
Before I signed with one championship, I don't think I really got to watch much of his fights at all, actually. I came in the sport very young and having fights professionally at a very young age. I'm still very young, but now that I have this fight set up, I've watched a lot of footage, a lot of tape of him, and got to check out a lot of his fights.
He's obviously someone who's a little bit older, and certainly significantly older than you. You're still a pretty young guy. But would you say this is the biggest fight of your career? Maybe the biggest name that you fought so far, or maybe even both of those things?
Absolutely. It's definitely the biggest fight of my career so far. It's a huge opportunity for me. I'm fighting someone that's a top ranked opponent for one championship, an ex-champion, one of the longest champs in history, and has a lot of experience. So definitely biggest fight of my career so far, and I'm really excited for it.
You're also going into hostile territory potentially. Although, as we know, the Japanese fans are really not hostile in any way. They're actually very kind and nice, even to foreigners coming in. But it is Tokyo, it is Japan, and it is his hometown, and it's his home country. Any consternation about kind of going into the wolves' den a little bit?
Yeah, I mean, you're right. I am fighting Shinya in his hometown in Tokyo, the Ariake Arena. And, he's on hometown turf, but I actually got to go out to Japan for the first time, maybe 3 or 4 weeks ago. My first time ever visiting Japan. I had a great time. So I don't know. I'm really excited for it. I always have a good time with the fans. They pump me up. I'm really looking forward to fighting in the Ariake Arena for this fight in Japan.
Actually, I'm glad you said that you visited there because you have been doing karate, right, since you were very young, right? How old did you start?
Right. Yeah. I started very young, about 4 years old, four
4 years
and a half.
old. And that is a Japanese martial art. So Japanese culture, at least in some way, has been part of Sage Northcutt's life since he was, a 4-year-old child. Was there any significance for you to go to Japan and any significance for you to be fighting in Japan?
Absolutely. I've always wanted to fight Japan, actually, and it's a place I've always wanted to visit and be able to fight in. And now I have the opportunity to. And I'm very thankful for one championship setting this up and having me, give me the opportunity to fight there. And, also, like you said, it's a not only am I getting to fight in Japan, it's going to be a global pay-per-view. And I know all the fans can watch it on watch.onefc.com. So that's going to be pretty awesome getting to fight on a pay-per-view card in Japan. And I'm really stoked for it. The culture's amazing out there.
What does a Sage Northcutt diet look like in Japan, would you say? Because I mean, you obviously need a lot of protein to fill you know, those muscles there. So what do you eat when you go to Japan, or what will you eat when you go? I know you're cutting weight, but you know what I mean.
Man, I've already got, so you got to see my Instagram. I have like a whole list of everywhere I want to go eat, all the food I want to try, post fight, of course. But you know, when I visited just under a month ago, first night I got in, I was like, I got to find something good to eat. I needed some carbs. I walked around the street. I was in Shibuya and I went and found a ramen restaurant. It was most amazing ramen I've ever had in my life. And it's so good. So definitely ramen, sushi, maybe some kind of Korean barbecue or something out there. I don't know, something good.
Well, you get Japanese barbecue too. That's also
Japanese barbecue. Yeah, exactly.
yakiniku, I think is the name of Japanese barbecue.
Yeah, yep.
So that was within your parameters for your diet, ramen, because it's very fatty, right? Very carby. That's
You
okay.
know, no, not normally. It was kind of a cheat meal, but
Okay.
after that huge flight to get out there, I needed some extra carbs, especially
Yeah.
getting my cardio in there. I need to have it.
How many calories a day do you eat, actually?
It depends. A little farther out from the fight, maybe 4,500, 5,000 calories.
Wow.
Quite a bit. When it gets closer, obviously, a little bit less. But I train so intense that just kind of like it's fueling my body and my training.
So 4,500 calories a day, like in the off season, basically.
Yes, absolutely.
Wow. So what like it seems like that would be a lot of work to be eating that many calories. Like what do you actually eat? Like what's the diet?
Everything's pretty clean overall, but I do eat a lot of carbs. I eat a couple thousand calories just carbs alone. Everything from like rice, potatoes. And then I eat a lot of healthy fats from like avocados, olive oil, different nuts and almond butters, peanut butters. And then of course I got my protein. I eat a lot of protein each meal, like 4 or 5 times a day.
Like I imagine like chicken, fish, like
Exactly.
yeah.
Exactly. Yes, sir.
So people are always saying like, oh, don't eat carbs. And look at you, you're like carved out of stone, and you're eating thousands of grams of carbs a day, or thousands of calories and carbs a day.
Right. Yeah, I think the biggest thing is though is if you're from like research I've looked up is that if you're not having an active lifestyle, like being an athlete, obviously I can get away with the carbs. They go for energy, but if you're just eating a bunch of carbs and you're sitting around, you're not working out, they kind of store up in
That's
your
me, yeah.
cells and
I
yeah,
feel I feel very exposed right now. I feel very exposed, Sage.
that's what you want to watch out for. That's funny.
Just a few more things I want to ask you, man, and thanks for taking the time as always.
No problem.
I saw on your Instagram recently that you were lifting and pushing a giant, was it a giant bale of hay? What was that? That enormous thing? You know what I'm talking about?
Yes, yeah. So back in Texas, we have I don't really know how it works, but like ag exempt stuff where people will come out and they'll mow the grass for you and it makes giant hay bales and they use those. So I don't know how much that hay weighed, but it was definitely pretty heavy. I had man, especially if it's wet, it even gets heavier if it rains, and it's always humid in Texas. It rains quite a bit, but that thing was definitely heavy, but it's kind of a workout for me.
How heavy you think?
Man, it's different. So, like, different than like picking up just like a dead weight of like deadlifting, for instance. It's much heavier than deadlift, but you're pushing it, so it's much easier.
Right.
I would say probably at least 1,000 pounds for sure.
Wow, that's
Yep.
wild. Absolutely wild. You're almost on like the Tony Ferguson workout plan, kind of doing some different things with things that are just around and maybe some parkour. I don't know.
Oh man.
How is I think you're up in Sacramento now, right? At Team Alpha Male, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. How is the camp been out there with Uriah and the guys?
Yeah, camp's been amazing. Team Alpha Male's great gym, one of the best in the world. I've been doing a lot of training with Uriah Faber, my coach Fabio Prado. I have great teammates, Chris Gonzalez. I have teammate named Eddie. I'm going with one of my friends named Solomon. I got a bunch of great training partners, teammates, coaches. Been really getting after it.
So now you're back active. It was a while that you were inactive, of course, as we know. And you have a win. You have Aoki coming up. hopefully, I'm sure you're hoping and planning to win that fight. What does the future look like? And I asked this, and I prefaced that question with, at one time when you were very young, when you first got into the UFC, there were a lot of high expectations for Sage Northcutt, right? There was people were talking about championships and how good could Sage
Right.
be. You're still a really young guy, and there's still a lot of time. So what are the goals now? What is kind of on that like bucket list of here are the things that I want to accomplish in the sport?
So same goals. I want to be the champion for one. Obviously, I know mostly everybody wants to be the champ. I really believe I can be it. And I'm fighting an ex-champion coming up in just under a few weeks. Not only that, one of the longest champs. So this is a huge fight for me. And I know you're asking what's next, but right now I'm focused on this fight and take it one fight at a time and see what happens after that.
This fight and then eating all of the Japanese food in the next
Exactly.
after, right?
Exactly. I'll have to post some pictures of it. Maybe I'll have to send you something. I'll have Marc send you a picture of me just chowing down on a bunch of food.
Please do that because I love Japan. I've been there a number of times. I was actually at one's first ever show in Tokyo a few years back. I think that was in
Really?
2018. Yeah, great time, and the food is exceptional. The culture is exceptional. It's just a fantastic place. I love it there. I miss it. I'm gonna be living vicariously through you guys when you're out there.
Definitely.
Sage, thank you so much, man. Really appreciate it, and good luck in a few weeks.
Thanks, Marc.
165 Northcutt Aoki global pay-per-view should be a really fun one. Thanks, man.
Yes, sir. Yeah, thanks a ton.